Greetings all, this is Dominic, and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And now that we've made it to July, we're going to go ahead and take a look back at June's comic book haul. Admittedly, this was a bit of a lighter month for me on the collecting side, but I am so eager to talk about some of my pickups. Before we jump in though, I just want to shout out our channel sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com. If you're looking for comic book collected editions, this is a fantastic resource. You can even use my code, TheComicBookReport, at checkout to receive $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate code or use the link in my description to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's a great way to support the channel. Thank you so much for considering. Now let's get started with last month's haul. First up, we're going to start with the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 5. This is part of the Chris Claremont era of X-Men. I have eagerly been collecting these volumes for some time now, and I was so ecstatic when I heard they were making a Volume 5. This is an excellent bridge right up to the event Omnibus Mutant Massacre, so I know that this will fill in a lot of gaps for collectors out there, including myself. A lot of really great issues here. This is a Volume 5, so chances are if you're looking at getting this, you maybe have picked up or dabbled with some of the previous collections, or maybe you're hoping to get this now and snag the others upon reprint, or if you can find them used somewhere. At any rate, this is such a great volume. In addition to some of the Uncanny X-Men issues, we have a lot of great specials as well, like the Long Shot miniseries. We have a great miniseries that follows Nightcrawler. There's just a ton of fun issues. We have Magneto on trial, which you probably saw at the cover art of this omnibus when I first showed it off. This is really a cool era for X-Men. Like I said, this brings us right up to the Mutant Massacre event, which is like the first really big X-Men crossover event book. So having everything now leading into that, it's just such a treat. And Marvel has a really great run of these omnibus now. The art throughout is absolutely stunning, as you're seeing here. It's definitely a little bit dated by modern standards, but I still think it's pretty timeless. I absolutely love the look of it. I think that this X-Men team is one of my favorites. We have Wolverine and Colossus and Shadowcat and Storm and so many more. It's just a really great era. And I know for me, this volume, like I said, was definitely a long-awaited one. And I also just generally like when Marvel keeps producing these higher sequential omnibus volumes. It gives me hope for the future that we'll see more and more higher volumes to really fill out collectors, just editions in this format. Really cool. Love the oversized art. This is definitely one to remember, and one I was eagerly anticipating upon pre-order. Okay, next up on our list today is the Amazing Spider-Man Beyond Omnibus. I will admit that this one was a Father's Day gift, and it was one I was absolutely ecstatic to pick up. Now granted, I have not read all of the Nick Spencer era of Amazing Spider-Man. I have the Volume 1 omnibus that I picked up a few months back. Volume 2 is solicited to come out this fall, and this Beyond omnibus actually takes place after the end of the Nick Spencer run. So for omnibus collectors out there, you might be sitting with Volume 1 of Nick Spencer, and you might be thinking, I want Volume 2 of that to finish out that run before picking up Beyond. I completely understand that. I considered that myself, but I didn't want this to go out of print in the meantime. I was fascinated by the concept of this. And if you don't want to know the general concept of this book that you find out in the first issue, you can go ahead and fast forward a little bit, but effectively this Beyond run follows the Ben Reilly clone Spider-Man. Such a great return to the character. I've sampled a few issues from the beginning of this book. I'm maybe 4 or 5 issues in now. It really starts with a bang, and it's just a blast. This omnibus has a really large variety of creators, both writers and artists, so you get kind of a medley, but so far the cohesion between issues has been really stellar. I love it. I know there's a Kraven the Hunter arc here. I always think he's a really fantastic villain. But like I said, so far I've only read the first few issues, but I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely a slimmer omnibus, but it finishes out that whole Beyond era for the Amazing Spider-Man. This is also the newest Spider-Man omnibus I have in my collection, so there's definitely a degree of novelty there that I really appreciate. This was again a great gift. I'm so excited to have it. I love the modern fun look. I love the return of Ben Reilly. I am actually a fan of the Clone Saga. I know that's a very polarizing run, but I loved it. So when I found out he returned to a Spider-Man book, I was elated. So let me know if you want me to review this more later on the channel. I'm hoping to finish it at some point soon. And hey, while I have your attention, if you're enjoying this video and you also like things like comic book reviews, community posts, and shorts, definitely consider subscribing to my channel. You can even hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I drop content. Thank you for considering. Now let's keep going with the haul. Next up on my June haul, the new X-Men Omnibus by Grant Morrison. This was a huge anticipated reprint for me. I missed out on picking up the new X-Men Omnibus several times in the last decade, so when I heard this was solicited last year, I knew that I had to pre-order it. So excited to finally have it here. I got the standard edition cover, but both covers are really great. I'm so eager to finally finish this run. I had some of this in the kind of Ultimate Collection size paperbacks once upon a time, read a handful of these issues and really enjoyed it, but never delved in to finish the run. So now I finally have the opportunity to do so, having the entire Grant Morrison, kind of Frank Quitely and others era contained in this one oversized hardcover. I am so excited. I've actually already read a handful of issues in this as well, and it's even better than I remember. This run also leads up right into the astonishing X-Men era from Joss Whedon and John Cassaday, so other omnibus collectors out there, you can have those kind of running end to end into each other, so that's really fun whenever you have the lines kind of line up like that. I really like this. I know this run kind of explored secondary mutation. It really incorporated Emma Frost into the main X-Men roster and so much more. I've absolutely adored it, as I said. I think that there's a lot of interesting takes on our favorite mutants in this run. I know Grant Morrison definitely always adds something so unique to comic book mythos when he plays with the big two particularly. I've had a blast with this so far. I'm looking forward to finishing it up again sometime in the next couple weeks or months. But again, just so excited that Marvel produced this. I love getting reprints of just classic runs, especially a lot of these modern classics. I think that there's so many great X-Men books out right now, and this was a big X-Men month for me. So eager to have this. You'll have to let me know if you pick this up or generally what you think of this era for X-Men. I know this can actually also be quite polarizing, but I for one am a fan, and I look forward to reading it again and again. Next up for my June haul, actually the last omnibus I picked up last month, and that is of course the X-23 Omnibus Volume 1 from Marvel Comics. This was such a surprising release for me. I know when I first heard about it, I knew it would be on my pre-orders list. Definitely saved up for this one, and I'm so excited to finally have it in my hands. I had read the first couple mini-series that starred X-23, Laura Kinney, the female clone of Wolverine. I read them throughout the last decade, just a few of those. I also read and reviewed the all-new Wolverine run by Tom Taylor, which starred X-23. I've definitely always liked the character. For those that maybe haven't read her appearances in comic books, she's also the girl in the Logan movie, if you're a fan of the Wolverine films. But at any rate, this is a really fun omnibus. It has some of those early miniseries like the Innocence Lost storyline, Target X, her one-shot, and it has the first, I think, 20 issues or so of her standalone series. We don't have her appearances in the kind of X-Force, X-Men titles. We don't have her appearance in NYX, I think is what it's called, where she first premiered in the comics. This character actually got created for, I think, X-Men Evolution, an animated series for X-Men. So she has a fascinating history, but I do think what they collected for the Volume 1 was a really good kind of distillment of her early appearances, other than her actual first appearance in the comic books, which I think would have been a nice addition. I understand why they didn't. I guess her first appearance was a bit graphic and didn't feel like it fit the character completely, although they do try to weave that in this book. But I think for someone who wants to jump into X-23, learn more about her character, this is a fantastic place to start. I'm almost halfway through this omnibus, maybe a third, but I'm just devouring it. I'm loving it. It was fun to revisit some of the miniseries I liked from so long ago. and to jump into her own standalone series, which I never had the opportunity to read. It's been definitely pretty fascinating, but I just like this character a lot. I really enjoy Wolverine, Logan, and when they introduced X-23, I was definitely a fan. Like I said, I love all new Wolverine, so this is just another chapter in this character's history, and so far I really dig it. I think the Omnibus was made really well. I'm excited to see a Volume 1, and I'm hoping it means we get a Volume 2 in the future. And last but not least, on my comic haul June 2023, Firepower by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samnee, Book 1 hardcover. This is a fantastic oversized hardcover collection from Image Comics that's brought to us by the writer of Invincible and The Walking Dead and Oblivion's Song and so many more. And Chris Samnee, whose work I recognize from parts of the Mark Waid Daredevil era, this is a 1-2 punch of just powerhouse creators, and we are treated to a really fun adventure in this book. This hardcover contains the prelude graphic novel in the first 12 issues of the ongoing series for Firepower. Essentially, it's a martial arts chosen one kind of narrative that follows our main hero, Owen Johnson, who finds himself kind of up on a mountaintop. He discovers this sort of monastic martial art tribe. He learns their ways and learns their fighting style, and he learns that he's the chosen one, and he's actually able to produce fireballs. There's so much interesting lore here, some fantastic world building, and for my money, some of the best just 2-page spread art I've seen in quite a while. I think the colorist and the penciler should be absolutely celebrated for what they've crafted here, and I think Robert Kirkman, while he has had better series so far, I think that this first hardcover volume is definitely a great entry to a good series. I think what really shines in this collection for me, having finished it, is actually the character development. I think it is some of the richest characters I've read in a volume 1 in a hot minute. I loved my time with this book. I do think that there was some formulaic kind of elements. It all felt very familiar if you're a fan of this subgenre, but I still think that Kirkman and Samnee added something to this that I really enjoyed. It's definitely a great martial arts homage book that I would still recommend. I did finish this and I have a review filmed. It should come out in the next week or two, but definitely enjoyed Firepower. And that rounds out my haul. At any rate, that is the June 2023 comic book haul for me, The Comic Book Report. I really liked this month. It was lighter than previous months if you've been following these monthly videos, but these were a lot of highly anticipated omnibus pre-orders for me. I love that I got the Volume 5 X-Men and X-23 and New X-Men. These are all books I've waited for some time. Spider-Man Beyond and actually Firepower were both Father's Day related gifts. So excited to add those to the collection. Really a ton of fun reading those so far as well. You'll have to let me know what your pickups are in the comments below, or maybe what you're hoping to pick up this month. I know for me, I'm having a blast reading some of these. Please let me know as well if you'd like to see me review any of the titles you've seen in this video. And generally, thank you so much for watching. It always means a great deal to me. I'd love your feedback on this video. I've enjoyed doing the monthly hauls. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to give this video a like and maybe check out one of my other videos. And until next time, have a good one.